The Garden is an open, inclusive, Christ-like community
where people from many paths
gather to explore, engage, and seek inspiration.
To transform our world
through the unconditional love of God.
Explore,
engage,
inspire.
We're glad you're here.
This is our creative team meeting, and we're looking forward to our weekend with you when we lighten things up. Kevin, are you there?
Kevin. I see his name. I don't see. Join video, Kevin.
Are you there?
You got to join video.
I'm going to try again. I'm going to let him in again. There we go.
All right.
There we go.
Hey.
That's it. Hey, you got to lower your screen, Kevin.
Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't know other people were going to be here. I got to put on my mask because we're social distancing, right?
Well, yeah. Hopefully the screen of the computer will work. Oh.
Yikes.
That one works.
This is what I wear in Kroger.
Oh, my God.
That's pretty good.
I see people like that at Lowe's every day.
Yeah.
That's doggone funny.
Hey, but you know.
Carolyn.
Yeah. So Kevin, we're trying to figure
out.
Frozen. I think he's frozen.
Or he's
too.
not. There he
This is what the quarantine has done to me.
Yeah.
That is.
I've got a very serious message today.
Yes,
is
it
this
looks
time
like
for me to start? Should I start speaking now?
No, your message isn't until later in the service. And in fact, we need to record it, Kevin. This is just kind of us getting together to talk about what it's all going to be like.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. Well, I'm excited. I'll just wait right here, and you let me know when you're ready.
Good morning, gardeners. I'm so glad that you're here. Hey, just want to check in real quick here at the beginning of the service as we're getting ready to lighten it up. Hey, why don't you keep lightening it up with all of us? Some of the ways that you can do that is by connecting with us for prayer every Tuesday, just 20 minutes of your time. That's not much time. Just to pause and pray in the middle of your week, get your heart centered and take off and see what God has in store for you. We also have 3 more sessions of the Living the Questions. And one is today at 10:30, and I'll tell you what, it has a video component and some questions, but go check it out today if you'd like. Just email Erica at thegardenonline.org, and she'll send you the link, and you can just go ahead and join us in the Zoom chat there. We also have that class again on Wednesday, and then our final class will be on Thursday. We're going to take a few weeks off and then work our way back into a new, exciting adventure. So today, we have a lot of help with different people trying to remind us that it's important to just lighten up. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
I'd ask him, can he make people who are mean and not nice to other people? Will you change their feelings, and will you change their smiles? Will you make them very kind?
Please join me with these words of peace. Shalom, salam, namaste, peace.
is XOX and kisses and hugs and being kind to other animals. So you can have a good life and being very, very kind.
Oh, let us turn our thoughts today to Martin Luther King and recognize that there are ties between us, all men and women living on the earth, ties of hope and love, sister and brotherhood, and we are bound together in our desire to see the world become a place in which our children can grow free and strong. And we are bound together by the task that stands before us and the road that lies ahead. We are bound, we are bound. And there's a feeling like the clenching of a fist, and there's a hunger in the center of the chest, and there's a passage through the darkness and the mist. And though the body sleeps, the heart will never rest. Shed a little light, oh Lord. Shed a little light, oh Lord, so that we can see. Oh yeah. Just a little light, oh Lord. Just a little light, oh Lord. Wanna stand it on up. Standing on up, oh Standing on up, oh Lord. Stand on up, Lord. Wanna walk it on down from the sound of the shed a little light, oh Lord. Can't get no light from a dollar bill. Can't give me no light, not down there. Don't give me no light from a TV screen. No, no, no. When I open my eyes, I wanna take my fill from the well on the hill. Do you know what I mean? Shed a little light, shed a little light, oh, so that we can see. Oh yeah, just a little light, oh Lord. Just a little light, oh Lord. Wanna stand it on up, standing on up, oh standing on up, oh Lord. Stand on up, Lord. Wanna walk it on down, shed a little light, oh Lord. Shed a little light, oh. And there's a feeling like the clenching of a fist, and there's a hunger in the center of the chest, and there's a passage through the darkness and the mist. And though the body sleeps, the heart will never rest. Oh, let us turn our thoughts today to Martin Luther King and recognize that there are ties between us, all men and women living on the earth, ties of hope and love, of sister and brotherhood.
In times of crisis, humor and joy can be a lifeline. Suzanne Maida shares this story about the people of El Salvador. In the midst of the Civil War, the people were forced to flee their homes and to move to refugee camps. Now, this didn't happen just once, but throughout the war, the Salvadorian people had to move over and over and over again from refugee camp to refugee camp. Every time this happened, the camps would find a way to organize themselves and seek to govern themselves by first forming 3 committees. There would be a construction committee, an education committee, and third, the Committee of Joy. Celebration was central to the community and a vision towards a brighter tomorrow. Think about it. The committees that were put in place had to address some major needs like digging latrines for the construction team, and the education team had to be concerned about the teaching of the children. But just as important as those two teams was finding ways to celebrate. These folks knew that if they lost their ability to celebrate the joy of living, if they lost their ability to celebrate the joy of family and community in the midst of war, well, they would truly have lost everything. In some ways, I think we too, here today, need to find a way to organize in this strange new world. And in many ways, we really already have, haven't we? I mean, we really kind of have a construction committee and those people who are working to help businesses like restaurants we reopen safely. We have folks working hard on an education team to determine how to best have our students return to school in the fall. I believe that one of the roles that the church could serve during this time is leading the Committee of Joy, to help others experience joy, to celebrate the joy of God that comes as an unexplainable gift in our lives. I mean, even in the midst of sadness and loss, loving and being part of God's family, well, it can bring joy. In his book, The Laugh Shall Be Last, Will Willimon says, among all of God's creatures, human beings are the only animals who both laugh and weep. For we are the animals who are stuck with the difference between the way things are and the way they ought to be. We actually see this throughout Scripture. That is, we are a people who live in a conditional world, and it's noted over and over again that there is joy and there is sorrow. In Ecclesiastes 3:4 we read, there is a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. In Proverbs 15 we read, all the days of the poor are hard, but the cheerful of heart have a continual feast. Again in Proverbs, we're reminded a cheerful heart is good medicine, but a downcast spirit dries up the bones. Scripture reminds us that life is a both and, a good and a bad, a joy and a sorrow, an ebb and a flow. Perhaps one of my favorite scriptures would be from the prophet Jeremiah, where we are reminded that with God, we will turn our mourning into joy. God will comfort and give us gladness for sorrow. You know, it's not only in the Old Testament, but Jesus also saw the importance of having a good laugh. In fact, I've been known to say that Jesus was the kind of guy who enjoyed time with his friends, a nice glass of wine, and a good laugh. He too lived in that yin and yang world of sorrow and joy. He even includes the concept on the most important sermon of all times, the Sermon on the Mount, part of the Beatitudes. Jesus says this to us. Jesus says, "Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh." Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh. Weeping and laughing are connected and both important to our physical, mental, and spiritual health and well-being. This is not the kind of laughter that covers up or denies pain, or the kind of laughter that pushes our pain aside. No, instead, it's the laughter that walks beside our pain. The laughter that comes in the midst of tears. The laughter that transcends pain. Laughter indeed is healing and lightens the load. It brings a new perspective in the midst of our struggle. Laughter has power, and humor is a gift from God. It is healing and it is transformative. Today, in the midst of the challenges, I want us to pause and simply celebrate the gift of humor. So in the name of God on this day, the garden encourages you just to simply lighten up. It's good for you. It heals the soul. Follow the example of those who have done a really good job lightening up and having a little fun during this crisis. Perhaps this came across to you in one of your Facebook posts or a text. I had a friend send it to me, and it says this: "For the first time in history, we can save the human race by laying in front of the TV and doing nothing. For heaven's sakes, let's not mess this up." Or how about the dad? The dad who has made taking out the trash an adventure. Each day he puts on a variety of different superhero costumes, and not only that, but a whole cast of characters. It's amazing what he is doing, not only for his own family, but for his whole neighborhood. How about this? This showed up on my Facebook. It said, "My house got TP'd last night. It's now appraised at $875,000. We gotta lighten up, kids. We're getting ready to move into another phase, and may this phase be centered on the gift and the love that comes with laughter. You have a choice, my friend. You can head out there into the world fearful, or you can head out into the world with the love of God and lighten up.
When God is happy, the sun shines brightly.
Well, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, 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 I'm gonna let my little light shine. Well, Jesus gave me the light, I'm gonna let it shine. Jesus gave me the light, I'm gonna let it shine. Jesus gave me the light, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, 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 I'm gonna let my little light shine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine,
Good morning. I'm David, and I'd like to talk with you about how we can do some things each day to lighten up our lives. You can do these things yourself, or you can do them with grown-ups. We all need to take some time to do something that can make us smile, help us relax, and enjoy ourselves, since we have so many serious times around us today. Some of the things you can do would be to play some games, maybe board games or video games. You could go outside and explore some new place you've not been to recently. You could draw pictures, maybe make a card to send to someone special like a grandmother or grandfather. Or maybe you could just one time help prepare a meal for lunch, or maybe even help do the meal yourself for your family. Now in a minute, we're going to have some young gardeners who are going to share some special things to lighten up their day. They're going to tell us some jokes. But first, I'd like to share a riddle with you. It may not be a good riddle, but you may know it. Okay. A group of bunnies were having a birthday party. Do you know what kind of music they were listening to? That's right. They were listening to hip-hop music. Now, always remember, when times get serious, if you can do something to lighten up, bring some sunshine to your day, you'll find it really will help. And now some young gardeners with their jokes.
What do you call a dinosaur that's sleeping?
What?
A dino snore. Hey, Jameson.
What?
What is a volcano station without a volcano?
What?
I love you.
Ha ha ha.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
I don't know. Why, Ben?
To get to the other side, huh? Waka waka.
What do you call a pile of kittens? A mountain. You don't get it, don't you?
Hey, Lorelai.
Yeah?
When you look for something, why is it always in the last place you look?
I don't know why.
Because when you find it, you stop looking.
Oh.
Hey, Keen, what do you call a pig that does karate?
I don't know. What does it?
Pork chops.
Orla, what insect cannot play football?
I don't know, Keen.
A fumblebee.
Good morning, gardeners. I just want you to know that I snuck across the county line for a much-needed haircut. If you would, join us in prayer today. Dear God, if someone hasn't laughed today, they sure are missing out. Surely they could raise a grin or a little snort. Why not a good belly laugh, the kind that makes your stomach muscles hurt? Something that makes you laugh out loud, even if you're home all alone. We get excited to hear a baby laugh. Some spend hours watching funny cat videos. We reminisce about watching Red Skelton, Johnny Carson, Saturday morning cartoons. Why? Because laughter makes us feel good. We forget things that get us down, even if it's just for a moment. It makes us happy to make someone else laugh. Just like making milk come out of someone's nose. That was always a good laugh in high school. Help us laugh off things that angers us or annoys us. A few seconds of laughter makes up for minutes of grief about something we couldn't do anything about anyway. We've saved this for last today, God. There's been a lot of doom and gloom, anxiety, fear, and stress about the last 10 weeks. It seems to be getting better, but we still have a lot ahead of us with a lot of unanswered questions. We ask for your help in returning to hugging, shaking hands, large groups, and laughing out loud in public without a face mask. A new norm is not what we're looking for. We kind of like the one that we have. Yes, we have found new respect, tolerance, restraint, kindness, generosity, and love. May we take the good out of this situation and carry it forward. So can we all just lighten up and have a good laugh? Amen.
Winter is the oldest season. Quietly beneath the snow, seeds are stretching out and reaching, faithful as the morning glow. Carry nothing but what you must, leaning towards the light. Let it go, shake off the dust, leaning towards the light. Today is now, tomorrow beckons, leaning towards the light. Keep practicing resurrection, leaning towards the light. Shadows of this world will say there's no hope, why try anyway? But every kindness, large or slight, shifts the balance toward the light. Waters wide and open wide, leaning towards the light. Don't just walk when you can fly, leaning towards the light. When justice seems in short supply, leaning towards the light. Let beauty be your truest guide, leaning towards the light. Shadows of this world can say there's no hope, why try anyway? But every kindness, large or slight, shifts the balance toward the light. The prayer I pray at eventide, leaning towards the light. All left undone be put aside, leaning towards the light. When forgiveness is hard to find, leaning towards the light. Help me at least to be kind, leaning towards the light. Leaning towards the light, leaning towards the light. Oh, leaning towards the light, leaning towards the light. Leaning towards the light, leaning towards the light, leaning towards the light.
Throughout this pandemic, I have to tell you, there is a person who puts a smile on my face day after day after day. His name is Kevin Wanzer. We all know him well at the garden, and today he's going to give us some pointers on how to best lighten up.
Thanks, Carolyn. You know, as a professional speaker, I've always tried to think of ideas as to how I can do a program from my bed someday. And today is the day. Who would have thought it would have been under these conditions? I think today we're reminded of the power of communication and how important it is to relate to each other and to be there for each other. And so what I thought I would do is offer you, first of all, a few things that might come in handy, ways to spend the time in quarantine, and a few ways to celebrate the levity that surrounds us in simple ways, like making a peanut butter jelly sandwich. You'll see communication is everything when it comes to that. But first, I thought I'd start out with these ideas. Ways to spend time right now. So my first ideas are ideas of ways to get out while you are staying in. I did some research, and there are many museums that you can actually tour virtually online. The Guggenheim in New York, the National Gallery of Art, the Van Gogh Museum, the J. Paul Getty Museum, and of course the National Museum of Anthropology. If you have some time to kill and you just are interested in visiting museums that you thought you'd never be able to visit to in person, now is the opportunity. Netflix has an offering where you can have a Netflix party online where they're able to sync up your Netflix with the Netflix of a loved one that is living elsewhere, under quarantine elsewhere, and you can watch movies at the exact same time. You can even communicate within the app as to what you think about the movie. So Netflix party. And going down the rabbit hole, there are so many wonderful websites that once you start going, you can't go back. But TED Talks, of course, if you go to TED Talks, there are so many wonderful different programs, public speaking programs of just short presentations that kind of share the world with you. Stuff you should know. If you Google that, you'll be taken to a website that is just incredible and shares the information that you just never thought you needed. The Board Panda is what you need to check out. Board Panda is all that it's cracked up to be. All that's interesting, that's a wonderful website. And of course, Google Earth. You can tour anywhere in the world through Google Earth. Now, here are some ideas of people that have really kind of taken the quarantine to the extreme. People that have stayed in and looked at life in a little bit different way. This guy, of course, was feeling very boxed in with his Amazon delivery. You can see we had some fun there. There's a gentleman who has a girlfriend who's a hairstylist. Every single day, she does his hair in a different way. A stroll in the park. Just take a look outside and see what's walking through your neighborhood. My son and I dressed up as Tigger the other day, and we walked around thinking it'd be a great way to keep a safe distance from people until everyone stopped and started taking photos. Feeling wiped out. If you want to welcome your family to the restroom in different ways every single time, you can use these as examples. Experts, of course, suggest sticking to your daily routine. So this gentleman, this construction worker, took it to the next level. Of course, working from home. And of course, all sports are not gone. Here's a great example of how you can curl right in the privacy of your own kitchen. I love that. Aren't you glad you had a baby? There's a surgeon that kind of worked from home in a different way. He took an orange and his scalpel and he cut it right open, and the orange had babies. As you notice, he even stitched up the orange afterwards. I love that. If you have an extra sock laying around that doesn't have a companion, just sew a button on it and have some fun here. And if you're very, very bored, this is one that's not for anyone who has ADHD. This surgeon took all the seeds out of the strawberry. In daily routines, here's a gentleman that missed the subway rides to work, so he just recreated it at home. And a walk in the park. Here's a guy that missed feeding the pigeons, so he just put the pigeons up on his monitor and breadcrumbs right in front. And finally, we've all seen the guy that gives out free hugs. Well, here is the new normal of free hugs. Free stares. I hope some of those ideas were helpful to you. Now more than ever, we all know that it's important to be there for each other, especially when we can't be there with each other. And communication, of course, is so important nowadays. The art of communication is that. It's an art. And sometimes it doesn't always go as well as we intend. Here's a good example of me making lunch with my son just the other day. I thought we were going to have some fun today with my son making lunch. This is CJ. How do you spell your name, CJ?
CJ.
CJ. That's correct. Ding! What's one of your favorite things to eat for lunch? Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So.
You need peanut butter.
All right, peanut butter. You got it.
You need jelly.
Jelly.
I have 2 slices of bread. Get 2 slices, or if you want to have half. Oh my goodness. Add jelly. First, grab a spoon.
Okay.
Ah, help me, Lord.
Now what?
Add 1 spoonful of jelly. First, open the lid. Open the lid. Add 1 spoonful of jelly. Dad!
You said spoonful.
Oh my goodness.
This is a spoon.
Help me, Dad. Help me.
Okay.
Wipe that with your bread. This is gonna come out horrible. Dad, the other side. Oh my goodness, just stop it. That's the part you use. How do you call it? Slither it around with your just like
this?
Yeah, upside down. Do it upside down. No! Stop!
You said do it upside down.
You're so mean. I quit!
Yep.
No! Can you help me? Cameraman, can you help me?
Time for peanut butter?
Open up your lid. Grab your knife. Murder.
Put what in there?
We're not gonna use that anymore. You know that, right? Second, go wash your hands. First, you want to get that mixture in there. It's kind of liquid-ish.
Okay.
90 degrees angle. No, that's not right. 60. Scoop it up. Yeah, there we go. Just put it on your bread. Oh God. Upside down. Put it together. Now eat it.
Join the Muse movement.
Thank you.
Hashtag the Muse movement. What are you doing? Hey! Let me make you one.
No.
Well, there you have it. I'm sure you will never make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich again quite the same way. I hope today's been a good message to kind of lift you up a little bit and to remind you how important it is to be connected with others, especially when we can't be together. Here's a final message from my friend Lily. Thanks again.
I would tell him, do not have a face like this. Because you can do fun things. You can call people. You can play hopscotch by yourself, or you can just like, or you can wait for someone to say, okay, I'm ready to play with you. Or you could write some letters or call.
Might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break.
I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space.
With the air like I don't care, baby, by the way.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Because I'm happy.
Clap along if you know what happiness is to you.
Because I'm happy.
Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Here come bad news talking this and that.
Yeah, well give me all you got and don't hold back. Yeah,
Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine.
yeah. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness nothing.
Bring me down, I said. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy.
Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Bring me down, can't nothing happy. Bring me down, my level's too high.
To bring me down, there came nothing.
Bring me down, I said. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy.
Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Come on.
Go now in peace, my friends, with the love and laughter of God. Amen.
Oh, let us turn our thoughts today to Martin Luther King and recognize that there are ties between us, all men and women living on the earth, ties of hope and love, sister and brotherhood, and we are bound together in our desire to see the world become a place in which our children can grow free and strong. And we are bound together by the task that stands before us and the road that lies ahead. We are bound, we are bound. And there's a feeling like the clenching of a fist, and there's a hunger in the center of the chest, and there's a passage through the darkness and the mist. And though the body sleeps, the heart will never rest. Shed a little light, oh, shed a little